The flights that we have are not for the cadets in that range, but the flights are for teachers. So we can fly a teacher program. We can take teachers up. That's one of the better ones up there. We can take, I get that before I leave. We can take teachers up on flights, though, so then the teachers can come back. And, there's so very little we give back to our members. We can give them awards and, thank them for their duty. It's the same thing with teachers, Take time to remember to thank them, because that's a hard job, and they have a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, right? A lot of things going on. In our program, we can fly the teachers then as kind of a thank you, but also as an understanding of more about aerospace, so it's nice for them. So, great question. Sorry for the long answer, but it really is a great future. So, if you in your schools, have people that are interested in the program again at those younger levels, I'm sure we'll be adding to that pilot program down the road here. So, any other questions from? Yes.
Are there any other states that are doing something similar to WTH, like Iowa has been?
Oh, great question. I know Florida wants to do that more. They've been looking at and talking to folks about your program to see if they can get that. It would be just in one place, not for the statewide, because the travel distances are way too significant. But yes, there are others, and I know they're. Trying to remember, there also are some others with the Guard. I was a Michigan Wing Commander. I'm from Michigan, and when I was there, I worked very closely with the Guard, and we had some facilities on their base, their installation, that worked out really well for us. But it was in the very corner of Michigan, and Michigan's pretty big. So again, same kind of thing where we work very closely and have good relationship with them, and they help support. But couldn't have everybody involved in that. So I think we'll see more and more of that. I think this program has been very good, and I know at first it was called the Iowa Experiment. I think was what it was called, and it's been a good one. Much like the school enrichment program, it's something I expect to see more and more of. We actually last year, General Pineda, our commander at the time, testified before a congressional committee. And testified right next to the FEMA representative, emergency management, as well as the Guard, and talked about working together and things like that. So I think we'll see more and more of that. And we're actually trying to get to an opportunity to talk to the adjutant generals from around the nation, the Guard side. So I think that will also open up more of that. So keep doing what you're doing, and that's a good start for everybody else to be able to work from. Yes?
Ma'am, what is CAP doing on the national scale to increase awareness about CAP and boost recruiting and retention?
Another great question. Yeah, we have what we call our marketing plan, our Civil Air Patrol marketing plan, and every public affairs person has more details on what they can do for public affairs in general, but also really specifically a marketing plan. So the wing commanders, the state commanders, and their public affairs officers right now should be working on goals. It literally takes them through step by step. What can we do? And it gives them ideas of things that they can do to get out into the public eye. So that's important. We also have a public affairs officer academy that we held the first one of last year. And I was a big proponent of that and was the keynote speaker to get it set off. I worked for 20 years in a marketing services company. I was an executive on the technology side, but worked in the marketing side, marketing field as well. And yeah, when people say, CAP is the best kept secret, that's a bad thing. We don't want it to be the best kept secret, right? Because I talked about that earlier. It's important to have more and more people involved, so it gives you more leadership experience. It changes the people around you, your communities. You can serve the community. So we need to get out there and let people know more. Also, some of the things that we did is we capitalized. Sometimes it's just about doing the right things when something occurs. So the Steve Fawcett surge, heard about that? Read about it in the Volunteer magazine? Huge, 17,000 man-hours. That's a lot. Oh yeah, volunteer, right? So it really got us into the public eye. We had, typically we'll have what we call about 10,000 media hits, meaning somebody picks up a story. It could be, you got promoted, your local newspaper picks up the story and runs it. We would call that a media hit. The media saw something CAP did and ran an article. Or it could be online. or it could be on radio. And so typically we'd see, 10,000 or so. We actually had many more than that, almost a 50% boost, some of it from Steve Fawcett. I mean, I had an interview with the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, not quite America. Okay, I also was on a podcast for, what was it? What was it? Gee, now I've forgotten. It was very cool. Scientific American or something. It was bizarre. So we had all these different venues to talk to people about, some on the technical side of search, some on Civil Air Patrol in general. And so that helped us a lot. And we need to keep picking that up. So locally, what can you do? Again, your public affairs officer in the state should have some ideas and should be working with the wing commander on that. But I think there are also things that you can do in your community. Does anybody here get involved in REITs Across America? Do any of the sponsorships with that? Okay, last year and for a few years now, REITs Across America has been sponsored by a company that we partnered with, the Civil Air Patrol did. On December 15th of last year, just a month ago, I remember the cold now, we were in Washington, D.C. There were 32,000 wreaths laid on the graves of soldiers and service members, okay, who served our country. 32,000 wreaths in one day. Now, Civil Air Patrol sold sponsorships for over 12,000 of those wreaths. And so that's a way that you can get involved, not only to, and when I say sold sponsorships, it's not a fundraising opportunity, it's really friend raising is what I would call it. So marketing, getting our name out, getting that awareness. And that was just an amazing opportunity. I stood at the Air Force Memorial in Washington, D.C. that day after laying wreaths at Arlington at not only our service members in different areas, but also then over at our CAP Memorial. There's a memorial there in Arlington. And then after that, we went to the Air Force Memorial, with the entrails, the spires in the sky, just beautiful, and stood next to Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Manpower and Reserve Affairs, Secretary Deering. He was just confirmed Friday, okay, and stood there with him and with the National Director of Cemeteries for the Veterans Administration, and we talked about Civil Air Patrol Community Service, the Wreaths Across America, and just the great things that were going on. So another great opportunity. There stands the Air Force Times, videotaping and doing all kinds of work on that. So really good opportunities there. So what's important is for you all to reach out. You're our best program, okay, in terms of our best face forward. People look at you and say, wow, they're changing our communities not only when we go out and search for someone who's missing or for a plane that's down, but we're changing every day because of the things that you learn and the example you set when you're out in the communities. So I think in terms of getting our name out, you're some of the best people who can make that happen. Okay.